Hey, okay, so everybody, Brent Carruthers here. It's your Future Stars Friday forecast. I've got my default guest here when I need somebody. It's Matt Carruthers.
I'm retweeting it right now.
Oh, thank you. This week's just been crazy for me, and it was going to be kind of hard for me to line someone up today.
Okay, good.
So not to make you feel like you're not special, Matt, because you know you're near and dear to me. But thanks for coming in. And we're actually going to take a unique, fun angle with this today because, usually when we're talking about the Future Stars forecast, we're talking either about the horses heading in to the Breeders' Cup Future Stars Friday card, or we're tracking those horses out of it as they look to go on the, trails for the Derby or the Oaks or the, turf races that are big for the 3-year-olds as well into the next year. We're actually going to take a look back at an alum from a prior Future Stars Friday card. And I am talking about the 2018 edition. And this horse got the lead, nearly took him all the way in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, finished third, just 3/4 of a length beaten. I am talking about Some Like It Hot Brown. Why? Because he is in tomorrow's Grade 2 Fort Lauderdale Stakes at Gulfstream Park. I'm going to show that replay, but before I do, just general impressions of the race overall.
First of all, it's a great card at Gulfstream. I've already done. I know you know a little something about Tampa.
Yeah,
so do I. So I've already done my Florida work for Saturday. Both cards are sensational, and the weather is supposed to be great. Tampa usually is. Down in the Miami area, they're more prone to rain, but it looks like fast and firm conditions at Gulfstream. In the Fort Lauderdale 9 furlongs turf, it was a really fun race to handicap. It's one of those important races. It's a Grade 2. You have horses coming out of the Breeders' Cup Mile. You have speed, you have closers, you have kind of wild card types. There's a little bit of everything in the race, and on top of it, big field of 10 scheduled to go. So it was a fun race to handicap. Not all graded stakes races are fun to handicap. This was one that I enjoyed going through, and there's a lot of possibilities.
Well, definitely, and it's a lot of fun too, because when we're talking about Future Stars in particular, we're hoping that the horses we see showcased on that card are going to go forward, like Some Like a Hot Brown, and develop. Yes, I mean, out of that race, even though he didn't win that day, he won the Jumbo Battaglia, he won the Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes. He contended well in the Bluegrass, and then things didn't go quite his way although these weren't bad performances in between, but in early on in this year. But gosh, I don't know what happened from March and now going into June. Something just clicked because he's been dropping triple-digit buyers. He's only had one lackluster performance. Did you see that race? And if so, what did you make of that? And I'm talking about the Turf Classic, in which he finished 9th beaten 8 1/4.
We had a terrible trip. I mean, he had back-to-back races where he had bad trips. At Churchill on the comment rank 7/8. It's early on in the race, and he was a rank thing early on, and then on I know we'll get to the race. I know you want to show the juvenile from Churchill, in which he was 15-1, and Line of Duty beat him, but he was only beaten 3 parts of length, as you mentioned. But 2 starts back, he lost to Factor This, who's also in this race,
and who also ran in this year's Breeders' Cup in the Breeders' Cup Mile along with Halliday.
Right, and in that race, in the dinner party, I guess it's called, from Pimlico over a yielding turf course, Factor This. He's very fast. Also showed speed, and Some Like It Hot Brown, he kind of cut in front of him going into the first turn. And so he kind of beat Some Like It Hot Brown to the punch out of the gate. They're both kind of need the lead types, and Factor This got the lead cleared over, and Some Like It Hot Brown was kind of like this early on. Comment checked hard early. He did off of the heels of Factor This.
And that can throw a horse mentally out of their game.
Right, exactly. But we'll talk more about how this race sets up and everything. But I don't know. I mean, his only bad races have really been races in which he's had bad trips. Mm-hmm. I mean, 6 for 16 with 4 seconds. He's made almost $700,000. He is definitely a need the lead type. If he doesn't get the lead, he becomes pretty ordinary. He can become borderline great when he gets loose in the lead. And the Mohawk, because the race coming out of you might think, well, that's the state-bred race at Belmont Park. That was a serious race. And Therapist, the runner-up in that race, came back to win the Artie Schiller nicely in his next start. You go through this field when we do that. talking about the Fort Lauderdale, you'll see Therapist's name often, and Therapist has beaten some other horses in this field. So that was a good race, even though it was a restricted race in New York.
Well, even including the horse just to some like Hot Brown's outside, Delaware. And the other thing that's interesting, I'm going to show this replay. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to show this replay of the 2018 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Remember, this race was won by Line of Duty, and you will also find Line of Duty in the running lines of Delaware, who before he got imported had run in the Prix du Moulin de Longchamp Group 1 event over there. And Line of Duty that day was third, and it was won by Circus Maximus, who had come over here for the Breeders' Cup. So in any case, you're going to see a lot of common opponents. And we also have another Breeders' Cup alumni in this race as well. I'm just going to give a shout out, and I'll show that race later too, to Channel Cat, who had been in the Breeders' Cup Turf of 2019 in against Bricks and Mortar. Oh, nice. Okay, that's a
Lady Secret.
The Lady Secret bar over there.
Greatest racetrack bar ever. Sorry, other tracks, bars. Lady
and
Secret.
One of the greatest bartenders ever.
Nance, dear friend of mine. Yep.
Yes, and who looks like she looks like Debbie Harry. Can
you drink on the show? Because I had the hard stuff today. Straight Coke. I mean, it's pretty.
Oh wow!
It's pretty strong. I know.
Watch out! I thought you were gonna have a beer. So in any case, let's go ahead and let's take a look back at the 2018 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf to keep the show relevant to future stars. And again, remember, watch this knowing that we were trying to show you a showcase of horses to follow into the next year and going, developing into a heavy hitter. And I think we got that with this race. So here we go.
Let's do it. I'm fired up.
All right, let's do it.
And Anthony Van Dyke will be 14th and last into the starting gate here.
I know the track announcer personally.
Outside stall, they're all in line. Ready for the start. They're off in the Juvenile Turf. And the bets beginning goes to 40 under on the inside. Some like it Hot Brown up to grab the lead in Line of Duty is close to with Henley's Joy.
That natural speed. He's a scat.
Inside. War of Will is next outside
of this day,
Anthony Van Dyke's going to be caught wide into that turn, and racing in between horses there is much better than Uncle Benny.
He's a handful early. You can tell early on in his career he still is.
Marie's Diamond is next.
He wants to go.
And the trailers are King
Difficult
of Speed
to reel in.
and Main Current as they head to the backstretch. And onto the backstretch, 24.40 opening quarter mile. It is Some Like It Hot Brown leading it by a length and a half. 40 under is second. Opry on the outside is third. Arthur Kitt fourth down toward the inside. Then it's
pretty sure I bet Henley's Joy who ran last. Pretty sure.
In between horses, much better. Line of Duty is down on the inside. He's 6 lengths off the lead as they continue through a 48.46 half mile. Then the Black Album, Uncle Benny to the outside. Anthony Van Dyke is 12 lengths behind as they race for the turn. And then comes Current King of Speed and Marie's Diamond. Some Like It Hot Brown on top on the far turn. Pushed along by 40 under on the outside. The two of them are 1-2, and Arthur Kitt is right behind them as they come toward the top of the stretch. And then it's War of Will on the far outside. They're into the final furlong, and Some Like It Hot Brown is still there.
You put away 40 under.
Lead. And then it's 40 under, followed by Arthur Kitt, and down the center of the course. Well, there's Line of Duty. And splitting horses too late is Uncle Benny. And it's these two that are coming after the lead as they come down to the wire. Line of Duty has won it. Line of Duty got up over Uncle Benny, and Some Like It Hot Brown. Arthur Kitt was fourth.
Okay, just a couple things first. A couple things. I'm sorry, Nicola. Sorry. Okay, so a couple things. You heard the name Arthur Kitt in there. He had such a great story coming into that race. Arthur Kitt he had lost his mom and he was raised by a nurse mare, and he ended up being a really talented horse. Line of Duty, we saw him get up there. I remember seeing him in the paddock. I had the race and just thinking how tiny he was. So here you've got this, Some Like a Hot Brown by Big Brown, and this little Line of Duty, and it was, it just shows that heart can take you far. You don't have to be necessarily a big, imposing type to become a top racehorse. But also, we saw Anthony Van Dyke in the beginning of that, and Anthony, talking about future stars being a showcase. Anthony Van Dyke went on to win the Epsom Derby.
Yeah.
And you'll will find his name, Anthony Van Dyke's name, in the Breeders' Cup Turf, because he came back to contend there, and he ended up running third behind Bricks and Mortar and United. So again, this is just showing that this is such an important card. It really and truly, and I keep using this word, it is a showcase of stars of tomorrow.
No, it is, and this is the neat thing about something like a Hot Brown is now he's a 4-year-old, so I was sensational at 2, really good at 3. This is his 3rd full year of being really good.
Not to cut you off, but don't you think that Big Brown himself would have been magnificent as an older horse?
Oh yeah, for sure. And they had the options because he won his debut on grass at Saratoga, right?
Wow.
I mean, he could have been one of those throwback types back when the great horses actually ran on both surfaces. It wasn't that uncommon to do that. They weren't as specialized as they are now. I mean, I'm a John Henry guy, so I'm a little biased to a horse who could do it all.
That's a PTs right there.
But
the picture from there.
So, and something like a Hot Brown, I mean, he's a horse that's, he's fast enough to do well in shorter distances. I mean, he's not a dirt horse, but the synthetic and grass, and I know people think, well, they're not the same thing. I mean, is it uncommon for horses that like one to like the other? No. Is it uncommon for a horse to like one and not like the other? No. So, I mean, just because you like the synthetic doesn't necessarily mean you like the grass and vice versa. And this is a horse who, as you mentioned, ran some huge races. I mean, those allowance races at Turfway, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, wire to wire at 3 to 5. So he's a graded stakes winner on turf and on the synthetic. So I think drawing the rail for him in this race tomorrow,
that was good for him.
Advantageous. And for those of you that maybe haven't been following Gulfstream that closely, how good Gaffleone is, right? And you might look at the form and see 1 for 25. I was on the air yesterday covering the Gulfstream racing, and I know Gaffleone won a couple, and he missed by an inch. And I said on air, I'm like, you can feel him like kind of turn the corner. When you're a great rider, which Gaffleone is, great riders can get into slumps. But the difference between a great rider and an average rider is their slumps don't last very long. And it's been they have minor slumps. And so I can feel Gaffleone starting to kind of, gain momentum right now. So I like the way he's riding. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about this race is you have some like it Hot Brown, who breaks from the rail, as I mentioned. And then the other 2 speed horses are the outside, Factor This and Holiday. And they faced each other before, and they kind of take turns in terms of who's faster out of the gate. right? Because I remember in the Breeders' Cup.
Well, actually, just wait. We'll show that race.
Oh, we're going to show it. Let me set it up then.
Okay, then set it up.
I was working.
Okay.
I was doing the player show. Actually, at Keeneland, I was on the set with Todd for that race. And, we both thought there would be a lot of speed in the race because of Factor This and Holiday. And I think we had a gentleman's bet, I don't know, probably a fifth or something, that who would be faster, Factor This or Holiday? And I said Factor This. He said Holiday. He was right. Factor This. You be the judge for yourself. It says bobbled, bothered, bobbled start, bothered stretch. I thought bobbled start was very minor. I think Holiday was the faster racehorse. I don't think it was much of an excuse for Factor This early on. We'll show it, and then you can decide for yourself.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to say Halliday.
Halliday.
Although you were saying Holiday. But that's
Halliday. Yeah.
Because we are the holidays.
No, it is Halliday. I don't know why I said that.
It's all good. Don't you worry about it. It's because we have friends who are Jewish, and yesterday was the beginning of Hanukkah. We've got Christmas coming up. We're in the holidays. So you were just thinking that.
No, I'm just dumb. I know it's Halliday.
It's okay.
Like the great pitcher, the Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, here we go. Share screen. We're going to go watch this Breeders' Cup Mile from just this past November here. Share the screen.
The winner was only 8 million to 1, by the way.
Yeah, right. Well, the funny thing was,
they're off in the Breeders' Cup Mile.
Well, I'll wait for the race to be run, and then I will chime in.
Lead. In Factor This is away running in second. Order of Australia is sent up on their outside.
I hate to do this to you.
First turn, Chemical.
Ren?
Yeah.
Is there no way we can show it again, or is that too difficult?
No, I can show it again. Let's back it up.
Because we want to concentrate on the start here, right?
Okay, yeah.
So watch the 13 out of the break. That's Factor This, the 13. So you be the judge about how bad this was. Okay, breaks a tiny stumble, right? I mean,
Yeah.
That's minuscule.
Well, it depends. I mean,
It's technically it's a bobble start, but it's about as slight a bobble
can we
start.
watch it one more time?
It's your show.
Let's do it one more time. One more time. One more time. We're gonna watch the start of this race. And
Technically, it's correct.
if you think this was, we're talking about the 13 horse here. You can tell us if you think that
And you can watch a million replays. We got 5 of us and kind of disagree on what we saw. I mean, I thought it was pretty minor.
Okay, here we go.
The 13 breaks cleanly, and then it's even hard to see. And the 10's faster. I think with a clean break, he's faster. In fact, in this race. So I think on the square, Halliday was quicker than Factor This in the spot. I mean, he did break to the inside. They both had, post towards the outside, obviously, but Halliday breaking to the inside a little bit quicker. And 9-1 Factor This, 7-1 Factor This. What a year going into this race. 5 for 7. But he's another horse. He's just better on the lead, right? I mean, he couldn't get the lead here. He couldn't win. His wins are winning. I mean, he did battle on the front at Ellis. That was a softer group. Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking. I mean, who thought who was faster?
Todd won the bet. He thought Halliday would get the lead, and I thought it would be Factor This. He was right.
Yeah.
He's right.
You're probably right. I mean, it is hard.
He's right. Halliday's in front of him.
No, I know, but as far as what you were saying about the horse at the start, sometimes
here comes Order of Australia at 73-1 for Aidan O'Brien, right?
Oh, look at Halliday try to dig in too.
He ran huge. He's beating 2 1/4 or something. Yeah, 2 1/2.
Oh, sorry about this, guys. This thing popped up. I don't know.
Ron, so we want to congratulate Whitmore as much as possible.
Yes, we love Whitmore.
He's 73-1 in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Circus Maximus was second.
Yeah, there's Circus Maximus, who we mentioned earlier, who won that Group 1 and with line of with a line of duty. Your Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf winner of 2018, running 3rd. But yeah, in that race, in the Breeders' Cup Mile this year, it's kind of funny because people are like, "Oh, O'Brien, when's he going to get a win?" He ran 1, 2, 3, if I remember correctly, in that race.
Yeah, right, and right, Lope Fernandez, whatever the horse's name was like 17-1, I think, or 18-1. That try was like,
yeah, it was insane.
Was ridiculous. So I mean, Halliday was really. I mean, Factor This was 8th, but only beaten 8 3/4.
Yeah.
So he was kind of always about a length and a quarter behind Halliday, right?
Yeah.
And Halliday, they were 1st and 2nd, a length and a quarter apart, and at the end they were a length and a quarter apart, being 6th and 8th. But they both ran kind of deceivingly well, I would say, in the race. But back to something like actually look at if you have the race for tomorrow, look at Halliday's race 3 back. That was a Bernard Baruch at Saratoga.
I do not have that queued up. Mm-mm.
No. I'm just our viewers at home that maybe have the form with them while they're watching this. That race 3 back, the Bernard Baruch, Halliday couldn't get the lead because Some Like It Hot Brown got the lead, and Some Like It Hot Brown went wire to wire. So Halliday was a little faster than Factor This. Factor This, on 2 occasions, I believe, has been faster than Some Like It Hot Brown early on. But in the Bernard Baruch, Some Like It Hot Brown was faster than Halliday, who was just faster than Factor This, if that makes any sense. So they're pretty much all pretty equal in terms of their gate speed.
Yeah.
That's where I think the rail comes into play for Gaffalione with Some Like It Hot Brown. It's going to be easier from the fence, I think, to get the lead from those other 2 horses to the outside. So if I had to pick one horse to get the lead in this race, it's going to be Some Like It Hot Brown. And because of that, you have 3 need the lead types. The one you think is going to get the lead is obviously the one you like best of the 3. That's why I prefer Some Like It Hot Brown. And I love that win in the Mohawk in his last start. And, those other 2 horses, they've had time to recover, not a ton of time. That race was a month ago, and that was a tough race for those horses. Where Some Like It Hot Brown comes into this race maybe fresh, maybe sitting on a bigger performance off of a little bit more of a layoff and off of an easier last start.
That's a really good point. I had not.
That's what I do for a living.
Now, don't you think it is crazy? Now, let's talk about Delaware a little bit, because this could, with all
I
this.
love Delaware. I've only driven through it, but I love it.
But we're Chad Brown, 5-1 on the morning line. What?
Yeah, he hasn't won a race in a long time, this horse. Group 3, DeVille, back in August of last year. He just lost a therapist we talked about, who's Some Like It Hot Brown, beat pretty easily in the Mohawk. That was an awful race for me. I loved Valid Point in that race. And therapist caught him right on the wire. It was vicious, as Frank Miramati likes to say. That was an awful loss. So I love going back to that Artie Schiller race, November 14th. That race was okay, Ren. It wasn't great. I mean, he might get the nice setup. The blinkers come off.
He gets a mile and 8.
We know the pace is going to be hot. I don't know about the distance for him. I mean, all of his starts are between, 7 and a hook and a mile, or 7 furlongs and a mile. So he a mile and an 1/8.
Well, don't you think now there's a possibility that when you have so much other speed in this race, there's a little more time for that speed to hook and cook itself? So then things could maybe, he's got more opportunity for the horses up front to tire, to take advantage of it. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting races where you have to make a decision as a horse player. What's more important to you? The quality and the ability of the racehorse, or the way the race sets up? And I think it varies from race to race.
You're always looking for the balance.
Right, because I'm guilty of this. I think we're all guilty of looking at races. I always say this on air. There'll be a 5 furlong turf sprint, and everyone's always like, wow, there's so much speed in this race. I'm like, how many 5/8 turf sprints is there not a lot of speed in the race? There's a lot of speed in this race. Yeah, it's a 5 furlong grass.
So.
11. What are you expecting? Every horse to be really slow? There's going to be speed, and yet horses do win on the front end of those races, right? So I always want to find closers in those races automatically. But no. Horses can win on the front end. They can be the speed of the speed. It doesn't set up the way you think. Other jockeys take back, whatever the reasons are. So in this particular race, I think the 3 best horses are Some Like It Hot Brown, Factor This, and Halliday. I think they're better than the closers. So what's more important? Do you pick one of those horses because they're better, or do you think they're going to get cooked up on the front end and you go with a horse who maybe isn't as good, but tomorrow could be better because of the pace scenario? That's the question that you have to answer as a horse player, really on a race by race basis. I'd be more inclined to roll the dice with Some Like It Hot Brown, that he's going to be faster. If he can get the lead in this race, gone with Gaff Leon.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge some people.
Oh, good.
I believe the name would be pronounced Keener. Hi.
Yes.
Thanks for
Keener.
watching. Ricky Ray, thumbs up. We always like a great thumbs up. Certified, that's great.
I like those glasses.
I especially like getting a thumbs up from. What do you do if you're still watching, Ricky? What do you do? What are you certified in? Social Selling Headquarters is what it says.
Huh.
That's cool. And yeah, I know he's very picky about his glasses. So if he says he likes your glasses, he actually really those are.
Yeah, I'm a glasses snob. I'm not a snob when it comes to. I mean, just give me a case of Passport or Coors Light or something. I'm not a snob when it comes to a lot of things.
I don't wear glasses, but I love his frames too, because those are the nice ones where you have the outline of the frames, but then you don't have it down here. I know sometimes you like thicker glasses, but I like what Rick.
I like the John Lennon look sometimes too. I mean, I do like that look.
Nat Dominguez, Ivar, he says, or I don't know if Nat is a man or a woman. It could go either way, right? I'm going to go with a woman. Nat. I'm going to go with a woman, right?
I don't know. I think it's a versatile name. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, this person loves Ivar. Ivar is the best North American turf horse.
Okay.
Oh, we have JD Fox in here. He says, or you can pick
Did you say Jamie Foxx?
No.
Jamie Foxx is watching. Wow.
JD Fox.
Oh, JD Foxx. Almost
of JD and Champagne fame. And he says, or you can pick Breaking the Rules, who has talent and can win from all over.
Yeah, he's been the beaten favorite in his last 2. He was okay in the Knickerbocker. I don't think he was any better than that. He was okay in the Lure. He beat there's Therapist again. He beat him. He did beat Digital Age. We know how good that horse is. Came back to win who I love Digital Age's next start when he won at Churchill, I believe. Yeah, he can win. Sure. I don't like his last 2 starts particularly, but he can win at the race. He'll be off the pace. He'll be a little further back than he normally is, which maybe is a good thing. Maybe at 1 1/8, he's been a little bit too close.
Yeah.
He's been flattening out. You can see that he's better when he has that kick at 1 1/16, but because of all the speed in this race, maybe he has that 1 1/16 kick at 1 1/8, potentially.
Okay. Do you want to know something that I just noticed that I think is actually pretty funny? And I don't know when I've ever seen this before. I mean, we've had horses here in the United States that have been just one-word names, like Steve. Remember the horse Steve?
Oh, Steve. Yeah, that's Joyce's favorite horse, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you're looking at the past performances, again, going back to Delaware, because I'm kind of keen on Delaware right now for a reason.
Tell you really are.
Well, no, because it's Chad Brown at 5-1, and I think there's a potential for things to. I don't know. I think the horse hasn't maybe necessarily had enough time to prove himself one way or the other over here, and I don't know. It's one of those. Remember, who was it? Was it LaDuca used to always say, "Leave out Pletcher, leave on a stretcher."
And he still says that.
I feel like you can make some sort of same or similar adage regarding Chad Brown. Leave out Brown and
you're a clown.
Fun downtown. Or you're a clown. There you go.
Right. You'll drown if you don't go with Brown.
Something like that. Oh my gosh, this is.
We just did it. I think
this is one of my best shows ever. I think. So
it's one of my best shows ever.
Leave out Brown, you'll be left with a frown.
And feel like a clown.
Okay, so you already used that one. Okay, so
I know,
if you look back at the Prix du Tourgeville, Delaware,
yeah.
Delaware beat Dan and Dave. The second place finisher was named Dan, and the third place
he beat Dan and Dave.
So not only did he beat 2 horses with one-word human names, but all 3 of them, their names start with the letter D. What are the odds of that? Your mom is a statistician. Can we get her in on?
Yeah. I don't think she's ever done anything like this before, so it'd be a first for her. But
there it is, right here. Delaware beat Dan and yeah. I think it's hilarious. He says that was a crazy race. I agree. We also have a comment here from Howard Weinstein. I'm Matt. I'm the guy who gave you a Haskell and Travers t-shirt at both tracks a few years ago. That was the tie-dye?
Oh, yes. Yes. Howard, how are you, my man? Very nice. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
I know exactly where those shirts are.
Helping keep the family clothed. We appreciate that. So what we were talking about is the speed in the race, and you think that speed is also relative to class, that like speed can carry on if you got the class. And so race might not necessarily, the way you think a pace would shape up, if a horse has enough heart, has enough class, it doesn't matter. And sometimes things just don't pan out the way as you were talking regarding how, okay, well, these horses should cook each other up on the front end because maybe maybe one of these jockeys decides to take back. We couldn't see, a situation in which a horse rates. You do think some like a Hat Brown is a need the lead type. He has the 1 hole, so it's kind of been decided for him what he needs to do here.
I'm not dismissing pace as a non-factor in handicapping. It's obviously very important. I think sometimes maybe we're guilty of putting too much emphasis. All of a sudden, pace becomes the most important factor in determining who we're betting in a race by a mile, and it should be one of about 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on how you do your handicapping.
Right.
It should be in the conversation for sure. But I think sometimes we end up betting a horse who's a plotter,
right? Because
we think the race is set up for him, and we don't go with a horse who's better, who's faster, because we think he'll get cooked in the front end. And many times that doesn't work out very well for us. So that's all I'm saying. If you can, and I think this is if they were lined up next to each other, if it was some like it had Brown the 1 hole, Halliday the 2 hole, Factor this the 3 hole, maybe I wouldn't like him as much. But I think those horses drawn way to the outside. They're pretty even in terms of pace. And I think that could give some like a Hot Brown a little separation from those 2. If he can get a 1.5 length lead in the race, even a length lead, 1.5 lengths, I think he'll be tough to get by in this race.
And just from a pedigree standpoint, I do kind of get a kick out of the fact that we've got Halliday and Factor This by the Factor by Warfront, Halliday by Warfront. It's kind of fun. And then Holiday's out of a Tappet mare, and so is Some Like It Hot Brown.
Yeah, you're into names. You're into Dave and Dan, but it sounds like a Hot Brown by Big Brown, the mother Marilyn Monroe.
I know. How great is that?
Marilyn
Oh,
Monroe.
God. You're going to do your fake laugh thing that you did.
Funny though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's great. But like, here's, the other, side to that equation is the fact that if you want to get really, really geeky with it, just like Warfront's by Danzig, right? Well, Big Brown is he's by Boundary, who's by Danzig.
Right.
And Danzig, of course, by Northern Dancer. And Big Brown actually is he's got more Northern Dancer in him too, because he's at Mien, who's by Nureyev by Northern Dancer. So
in Boundary, he was just a New York bred, wasn't he? I
don't remember Boundary's actual race record, to be honest.
Back in the day, I used to bet Boundary first time out. He was like a speed first outsider.
He was fast.
Yeah.
But the whole domination of Northern Dancer in our pedigrees has been something to be in awe of. I do, of course, want to mention the fact that we have a couple of horses who ran in last year's Fort Lauderdale. That would be the Spooky Channel was in there. He didn't fare quite well that day, but also, again, a horse that I mentioned earlier as also being a Breeders' Cup, not necessarily Future Stars Friday alumni, but a Breeders' Cup alumni nonetheless, and that is the number 5, Channel Cat. He's actually going to be making his full start, switching from the barn of Todd Pletcher to Jack Sisterson, who you know very well. Didn't he used to intern at TVG?
He did. We're going way back. Yeah, I mean, Jack went to University of Kentucky.
So how cool is
right out of college, I think he worked for TVG before he went on to have a lot of success with Doug O'Neill as an assistant.
Well,
yeah, really sharp kid. He's a kid to me. I don't know how Jack's probably 32 now or whatever he is. I don't know, but to me he's a kid, and he does things the right way.
Yeah.
He's doing really well. He's obviously just won the Cigar Mile.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's take a look back at the 2019 Breeders' Cup turf, because it was a really great race. We saw a horse that had cultivated a pretty big fandom in bricks and mortar pull it out in the end, getting
horse
up.
Of the year.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and watch that race right now.
Okay.
And go here and boom.
United was a monster price, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Back before we knew anything about United.
Bit of a tardy beginning there for Mount Everest, and it will
No
be
kidding, Larry. That was terrible.
With Benwell running along in second, United is out third. Bricks and Mortar's a bit headstrong in between horses as they make their way down the hill here, with Acclimate leading the way. On top by 2 lengths in the early stages here. On the outside is Benwell running in second. Then United in third. Bricks and Mortar was fourth. And racing in behind horses.
I'm getting dizzy.
Off the lead. And that's Channel Maker, followed by Arklow on the outside.
I guess it's a good thing this isn't cocktails and conversation where we would have been drinking, because you would get
over the main track and come on to the
tipsy and then
here with the leader, Acclimate.
Nauseous, right? From the above.
Yeah, right.
Cool shot. I think it's a cool shot. You might need your adrenaline.
I like it.
See, there's Anthony Van Dyke again. The Future Stars Friday card, I'm telling you, lives up to its billing.
So there's 1 lap to go here as they continue their run toward the clubhouse turn. And it is Acclimate who continues to set the pace. On top a length and a half to Benwell running in second.
Oh, is that a firm turf course?
Yeah.
2019, huh?
Bricks and Mortar in behind horses. Anthony Van Dyke is there to his inside. And these two are about 5 lengths off.
Bandor, that's Jack's horse too. That's Sisterson.
Old Persian is 7 lengths behind.
Yeah, I bet him at the fairgrounds, I think, a couple of years ago. I need him for size, and Peter Horton beat me.
It's crazy how you remember your former wagers to this degree.
It was the day I had the Louisiana Derby winner.
Channel Maker on the outside running in third. United is fourth. Meanwhile, Bricks and Mortar racing in behind horses here.
And the Ray Jones
lead, and to his outside it's Arklow. Old Persian is threading his way through traffic. Anthony Van Dyke is down on the inside. Around the far turn, Acclimate and Banwa, they're 1-2. United is a length and a half behind them. The Channelmaker and Arklow, bricks and mortar, racing in traffic here, and on his inside is Anthony Van Dyke, and they're into the stretch, and it's Banwa.
He's the six, right?
United is there. Bricks and mortar's got a clear path.
Look at Bricks, man. Look at him dig in for this.
And then it's Acclimate. Here comes Bricks and Mortar. And he rushes up on the outside of United, who digs in.
He's a six between. That's Channel Cap.
He's
Yeah.
champion.
Oh, look at a rat. Yeah, you know. You know.
Breeders' Cup turf.
I love it. He's all like, you know.
Bet against Brown.
I know there are some
Likely to
people,
drown.
Look, I know there are some people, they don't love seeing a celebration by a jockey in the irons. I love it. Why not? Oh my gosh, you're out there, you're risking your life going how many miles per hour on a 1,000-pound animal, and in this case, in a huge field, and your horse gets up, and this is a horse that, you know, is already a big fan favorite. I'd be like, you know, myself.
Not only
if I was winning.
I think people have the problems, I think, when the jockey's like blowing kisses to the grandstand before the wire. That's when I think people are.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Ride your horse to the wire, but.
And to be honestly, I don't have a problem with that. If the race is wrapped up and you can't lose,
right?
You know, and it's like the Dubai World Cup or something. I can't think of the rider's name. A rider did that like 10 years ago. He was a young rider at the time. It was like his first big win, and he kind of went nuts before the wire. I mean, come on. I mean, you know, he's a young guy. It's his biggest win by a mile. Yeah. People had an issue with that. I wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm all for. Nobody would ever say that you can't tell what I'm feeling.
Right, it's true.
I have a few more comments here. Howard did chime back in saying, "Oh, he said he gave. Oh, right here. Thanks for the shout out. Is Red Ortiz at the moment the best jockey in the country?"
I mean, he's maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's one rider who's the best. I mean, I think the last 2 months. I think Rosario the last couple of months has been. No one's better than him, but I mean, Rod's great. I mean, nobody's better than Rod Ortiz either. I mean, there's 3 or 4 guys that you could put up there right now, but Joel has been locked in.
Yeah.
The last couple months.
Tiffany says, "Great race." I agree. Now, Andrew had chimed in a little bit ago saying, "Devastated for Princess Noor." For those of you who don't know, she is fine. I want to jump in first and say it really quickly. She is fine. She's fine. A soft tissue injury that she sustained in the Starlet Stakes, the Grade 1 Starlet Stakes at Los Alamitos. She was pulled out of the race safely. Everything's fine. She's going to go on to become a broodmare, and she is booked to Into Mischief for 2021.
I mean, these aren't my words. I'm paraphrasing, but Baffert basically said. I mean, she's okay. We could potentially run her again, but she's worth too much money. I mean, that's essentially what he said. And
she probably, I mean, there's no guarantee that she'd be able to run at the level that she had been. And so she's got a great pedigree, and now she's going to be going ahead and having a date with Into Mischief, who doesn't get. I mean, that's going to be a really, really fast foal. I would think so. He's been unbelievable at Spendthrift for years now. Wasn't her damn? She's a smoke show sprinter. That was the Urton. Yeah, Peter Urton. I can't remember. Talamo rode her. Yeah. They won a big race. It was Eddie O's coming out party on NBC. Old check. Yeah. The same. He picked the Sean McCarthy horse who won the big cap at like 24-1, and he had She's a Smoke Show. I had She's a Smoke Show too that day. Did not have the Sean McCarthy horse. She was 11-1. It was like a down the hill race at Santa Anita. Peter Urton. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then a precocious horse too, because Princess Noor herself is by Not This Time, and then her dam is by Wilco. Although there's and when I say juvenile winner. Yeah, and when I say fast, also, I mean, it's not like it's not like I necessarily mean the horse is going to be a sprinter. I mean, Into Mischief can get you any kind. It really just depends. But I mean, Not This Time was a horse that was on the. Had he been able to run at 3, we would have seen him on the Derby Trail. I'm sure he put in a really, really good performance in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile of 2016, where he had a bad start and it probably cost him because he came within a neck of Classic Empire there at the end. But then Princess Noor's also had a mare again by Wilco, who won the 2004 Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
I believe J. Paul Redham, owner, Craig DeLassy, trainer.
Oh, there you
Fairly
go.
certain of that. 98% certain of that.
But she also has some stamina influences in that pedigree too. On the bottom side, there's some Dynaformer. So, I mean, but Into Mischief himself, you get the precociousness. We see these horses are very fleet-footed, but I mean, as evidenced by a horse like Authentic, I mean, if you get the right combination in there, you see a horse that can carry their speed the classic distance of 1.25 miles to win the Kentucky Derby and win the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Right.
Which, I mean, we were standing right there for the Classic this year. It was pretty cool.
I'll give you one long shot in the Fort Lauderdale.
For the Fort Lauderdale, let's do it.
I like so Some Like It Hot Brown's the pick.
Okay.
The long shot is Doswell, the 3. So this is a horse.
Not Roswell, but Doswell.
Doswell.
Have you heard of the Galactic Federation?
The Galactic Federation. I think I have.
There's somebody who was in intelligence in Israel who saying that there are aliens.
Right. Oh, for the former prime minister or something of
not prime minister.
Not prime minister. I'm sorry. Defense, like the equivalent of our defense secretary or something.
And that he didn't talk about before, but he's talking about it now because he feels like he's done enough in life.
He's like 87. He's retired.
Has the credentials that if you call him crazy, it just makes you look crazy. I don't know what to think about that. This is a big universe, of course, but he says aliens are real. They just haven't revealed themselves to us yet because the human race is not ready for that.
Yeah.
But the only reason again that I thought that is because you said Doswell and it made me think of Roswell. And now I'm thinking of Mike Smith because he's from
Ryan, Ken Rudolph for years called me alien.
Yeah.
On air because he's from Roswell. Last comment about aliens before we go. Dear friend of mine who passed away a couple of years ago, you knew Ken Kaiser, the former great umpire, was a big alien guy.
Really?
Big alien guy.
I didn't know that.
Big alien guy. Yeah. Rest in peace, Kenny. One of the great racetrack characters. One of the great characters.
He wrestled.
Maybe the number one character I've ever known. And I've known some characters.
Didn't he wrestle?
Great Ken Kaiser.
Didn't he wrestle Ken Kaiser?
Oh yeah.
Also?
Yeah, he was friends with Andre the Giant. Obviously some great. Obviously baseball. Don't take this the wrong way. Horse racing. I might even prefer baseball. I probably do. Great stories. I mean, just anyways. Anyway, Doswell the 3. So this horse has been, 1.25 miles that last start showing speed. He's gonna be off the pace now, right? Mm-hmm. He'll be off it. You look back, you see a horse who has shown the ability to close before at a mile. So he's gonna be further back. And this is a horse that, by Joe Allen, who doesn't have cheap horses, bred owner, Giants Causeway, Minardi, second as a favorite, second as the favorite, second as the favorite, fourth as the favorite, and now back-to-back wins. So he's learned how to win. I know he's faced much softer. That's why he's 20-1. It's called gambling. I mean, you're going to gamble. This horse is going to improve a lot on the turn back, and he's learned how to win. I've not talked to clockers. I haven't talked to Mr. Welsh or looked at those drills. But now all of a sudden he's with Barkley Tag. Both those wins with Barkley, by the way. Everybody moves up horses off of Chad Brown. We all know that. And look at that last work at Palmetto's, right? 58-3 for Barkley on the 6th of December. That is fast prepping for this 9 furlong grass event. So I have a feeling this horse might get a kind of a nice trip. He'll be behind the 3 speed horses, Halliday, Factor This, Some Like It Hot Brown, and then he finds himself in a really good spot, 4th or so, 5-6 lengths off of those horses. Maybe he's not good enough, but he's an interesting 20-1 shot to throw on your ticket, I think.
Yeah. No, we're always looking for the something that we may otherwise. We're looking to you for things we may otherwise overlook. I'm still I feel bad. I want to be on one of the Breeders' Cup horses because it's a Breeders' Cup show, but I'm still like sneaky suspicious that Delaware is sitting on a big one. I mean, okay. Here's the last time that I can recall that Chad Brown had a horse go off at 5-1 that looked like they had a reasonable shot to win. He did win, and that was Structor in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and it was at 5-1. I don't know if he went off at 5-1, but it was 5-1 in the morning line. I think he went off 5-1 as well. I can't remember exactly, but
digital age. I think I got like 8-1 on him at Churchill. That's Chad, right?
Yeah,
he was 8-1.
Yeah, what can Brown?
You're right. It doesn't happen often.
That's already a real slogan. What can Brown do for you?
Right.
Here, Tiffany says this also. The best race for me was when Authentic won the Breeders' Cup, bought in on him, and it's been the best ride of my life.
Good for you.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that was my race horse.
Nice.
That's so much fun. I think it's awesome that horses that people like you and me would never be able to buy ourselves. You know, these people get to go in on these horses that are performing on the very top of the world stage.
Oh, and speaking of Authentic, how dumb did most of us look? Because I remember I was.
Yeah, I know.
I was. I was at Monmouth Park for the Haskell.
Yeah.
And I remember I interviewed Mike Smith after that race. And, you know me, I'm not a big social media guy, but I remember I went on social media and that horse has no chance. Got 1.25 miles. He can't. You see him stagger home in that race. He has no chance moving forward. That was like everybody was saying that. Like,
is that your alter ego voice?
It's kind of my David Letterman from the 80s and 90s dumb guy voice, sort of. Okay. And I kind of had that voice because I was kind of with the people. I was like, oh yeah, what was it? It was the Saffy Joseph horse, some New York Traffic, I think, was coming after.
Oh no, New York Traffic.
Yeah, okay. I mean, he's a decent horse, nothing more than that. But he should have won that race by 5. He was tired late, no chance at 1.25 miles. Boom, boom, Derby. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Do the opposite, right?
Oh, I know. Well, you know, then he won the Derby. And then I was like, well, how does he win the Classic? I mean, my gosh, that was such a deep field. Yeah, to the law in there looking to, make come back from that defeat in the Derby. And then, it was just a really good field.
That's another example of where there was
Tom Zata, Maximum Security. And then it's like, oh, Authentic's 3 years old. He's going to come back from that hard race with Swiss Skydiver in the Preakness to beat these boys in the Classic. And already there's the question, maybe he just got away with it in the Derby to gain that 1.25 miles. And he just, boom. And he never looked tired. He never looked like a horse that was going to get beat.
Yeah, I don't know if we're winding things down here, but it's coming full circle because there was a fair amount of speed on paper in that race, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. I keep saying this about you whenever you're on. I had a great point, Matt Carruthers. Yes.
But Authentic was faster. He was fast. He's faster than those horses, and there were the people at Keeneland that day. Swiss Skydiver was no good in the distaff. What does that mean for Authentic? And that they had that conversation going to a certain extent. Yeah.
Well, he's going to be living the life over there where his daddy is into mischief at Spendthrift Farm. I'm looking forward to seeing who gets booked to him.
He's a real big horse, right?
I think he's pretty big. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been up close with him, but he looks pretty big to me. And that's the other thing. It's like he's got looks too. And I should mention, because we did show at the top of the show the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf from 2018. And again, one of the things I've just been trying to drive home is, remember, these Future Stars Friday cards, you have to think of them as a showcase. These horses are coming in lightly raced. The whole point of, we're going to try to introduce you to these horses, and more often than not, these horses are related to past connections that you already know, already love. So you think of this as a story, and the story is now continuing on into the next year. And these are the names that are your leading characters, your headliners into the next year. And so in that race, you also saw War of Will. War of Will ended up being a dual surface grade 1 winner. The Preakness and the Maker's Mile. And now he's at stud where his father is, a war friend over there at Claiborne. So
yeah, and I think War of Will, I think even our friend, you're better friends with him than I'm. You know him better, David Carroll, assistant.
I love
casting. I think David would even say that War of Will is a very good racehorse with a huge heart.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Right. I mean, that's his best asset is this, I think. Well,
his best asset as far as a stud goes is he has one of, and I'm not just saying this because everybody knows I'm soft on the horse. Yeah. But I'm not just saying this. That horse has one of the best pedigrees you could ever hope to have.
Right.
Anybody who is thinking about, has a mare and thinks this mare fits with him physically and maybe, the pedigree looks like it fits together, I wouldn't hesitate. This horse's pedigree is so deep on that female family, and I could go into it, but I'm not going to. But I'm going to spare you. But not only is it deep from a perspective of the black type, but it's the versatility of the black type because you have Oaks winners, you have Breeders' Cup Mile winners. So it's grass, it's dirt, it's classic, it's just marvelous. So, I mean, again, I would not hesitate if you're thinking about it, if you've got a mare that fits him.
Why's that tiny step stool behind you now? What is that there for?
I forgot to move the stuff out of the shot and reset things. That tiny step stool is there because
it's really effective. It's a 6-inch high step stool.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You were gonna take down my Pete Rose bat, were you?
No, I was not going to take down your Pete Rose bat. I had to put up, as many people know by now, I am doing the inner track analysis for Tampa Bay Downs, and I have this nice backdrop that I had to put over something.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay,
so
I'm
not handy at all. I am just.
I'm not allowed to go in that office, so.
And I'm scared to nail anything into the wall myself. Because I don't know if there's an electrical line behind.
Yeah, I don't like me. We'll wait for Scott Hazelton to come back here.
They're handy. You know what? It is everybody. I don't know if you'll get kicked out of this or not, but see those little patches on the wall?
Scott Hazelton.
Scott Hazelton.
Yeah. He's left his mark throughout this house, throughout this home.
Yes. But in any case, okay, so we've been talking about the Fort Lauderdale Stakes, grade 2 race on tomorrow's card at Gulfstream Park. Goes off as race 10. To sum everything up into a nice, neat package with a bow on top, Matt Carruthers. Talk about the weather, what we're expecting, and then again, your pace shape, top 3 horses, and done. Go.
The top 3 horses.
Wait, before you do, I want to give a shout out to Rendon. Hi, guys. Hi. Okay.
The most important thing, the conditions, right? It's going to be fast and firm. Ava's now getting involved here. So I'll be real fast here. It's a terrific race. 9 furlongs on turf. I'm trying to. You can make a case, I think, for everybody in this field, literally. So there's case to be made for all 10. There's not like any horse you can go. That horse has no chance.
Okay.
No horse would really surprise you. So it's a great gambling race. You have stalkers, you have closers, you have horse off of layouts, and you have 3 really, really elite speed horses on grass. And factor this: Some Like It Hot Brown and Halliday, quick horses that all like to win. Some Like It Hot Brown draws the rail. I think that's an advantage for him. He was quicker than Halliday when they met at Saratoga in the Brook. And I think with Gaff Leone on the rail, Gaff Leone's had success this horse before. He's going to be the speed of the speed. I'll go with him to go wire to wire. I'll go with Doswell to get the trip. The other horse is tired chasing Some Like It Hot Brown. Doswell, the 3 in second. And because J.D. Fox, would he like breaking the rules? I think he's a good finishing 3rd type also. So I'll put him in 3rd. I will go 1, 3, 4 in the grade 2, 9 furlong on a firm turf course. It will be firm. The Fort Lauderdale race 10 at Gulfstream tomorrow, Saturday.
And that's why they pay you the big bucks. Look at you looking all pro. Oh, by the way, that race, that grade 3 race that Princess Nora's mom won, she's a smoke show. Grade 3 Senorita, mile on the turf.
It was a mile on grass.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a grade 3.
You know what? I think it's her. Yeah, I think it's her name. It always makes me think And Princess Nora had speed, but she could also race.
I think she might have won 6.5 before that down the hill, and they stretched her. I'm getting races mixed up.
Too. I don't. It's just hard when it's that far away. Far back in the memory. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Look, we thought we were coming to you with like a skimpy show to talk about one race, and we have now talked to you for 55 minutes. How?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow, it only felt like 53.
Okay, so in any case, now I'm hungry, so I want it. I'm gonna have to make dinner, unless unless you want to cook, but I don't think you do. No,
I did the show, so you make dinner.
Oh, okay, I see how it goes. All right, everybody. I hope you had fun with us. We're goofy, it's lighthearted, and we enjoy our time with you too. Matt, are you gonna sign off while you're guzzling that Coca-Cola? Just don't.
No, again, I'm always available for the show. I'm always your guy with the bullpen. You're in a pinch. I'm always here.
Well, I might have to.
Literally always here.
And I definitely appreciate that. And so long as we have great races to preview that are in the next day, makes sense. Because I don't want to bother a trainer or a jockey or an owner if they have, on a race day. It's Friday.
Well, the last time I was on your show, I gave out a nice horse, an Asmussen horse at Churchill, right? On that 2-year-old program they have. I got caught on the wire by Florent Giroux, right? I got caught on the wire. Finished second.
Asmussen. We have to get used to it.
I can't change after 100 years. I can't start calling him Asmussen. I can't do it.
No, Asmussen.
Yeah, I can't do it. He doesn't care. Steve doesn't care.
Okay, well, for all of those of you watching who are like, what is she talking about? Just real quick, in case you missed the story from the other week, I saw Steve, and I had heard other people calling him on a different show. I had heard people calling him Asmussen. I've never heard Asmussen before. So I was just like, why are they saying it that way? So I saw him, and I was like, I'm just going to go to the source. And because I'm just not embarrassed to talk to people or ask them questions, I went right up to him and I said, hey, there's Ava. Hi, honey. I love you. So I went up to Steve and I said, is it Asmussen, as I've been saying for years, or is it Asmussen?
Yeah.
And he said, well, according to my dad, unless he's been lying to me all these years, it's Asmussen. And he's like, but I don't hear what you call me so long as there is not an expletive at the beginning of it. So
right, and there never is with him.
No.
There never is.
No. So there you go. All right. Well, I hope, again, like I said before, I hope you all had fun with us, the Carruthers.
Happy holidays.
Right. It's still
Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be back before Christmas.
Well, I might not. This might be my last appearance.
You might not be. Right. I might have to switch this back to Tuesdays. I don't know. I like that Future Stars Friday on a Friday.
Are you doing the show on Christmas Day? Are you doing? It's 2 weeks from today.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
Who's going to watch me on Christmas Day?
Yeah, I don't know. I might tune in.
I would watch myself on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Okay. So
I hate watching myself, but
I might move this back to Tuesdays just because, I know it makes more sense. Future Stars Friday on Friday, but I think it's easier to get. Not that I've tried since.
Yeah, I know.
Fridays, I just think I have more options. I think with jockeys and trainers to call them on a dark day. Right?
Sure. I'm sorry.
All right. So I'm signing off. Thanks again.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. I'll see you next week.